So what is incremental revenue and why is it important to know? So in the e-commerce and D2C landscape, nowadays it is close to impossible to really understand the true attribution of where sales are coming from. Whether it's marketing channels like Facebook or Google Ads, or maybe campaign flows, email flows like abandoned checkout, welcome series, it's truly difficult to really be able to say this specific campaign or channel drove that revenue. And even though we've got attribution tools like Triple Wow, we never really are going to understand that fully. And that's where incremental revenue comes in. So the true definition of incremental revenue in simplest form is essentially saying, if it wasn't for this channel or this campaign, this revenue wouldn't have existed for the business. So let's take, for example, Facebook ads. If Facebook ads is, according to the data, bringing in £20,000 in revenue every week, and we was to run a test and say, we're not going to run any Facebook ads for the next 2 weeks to see what kind of impact that would have in sales. And let's just say that the revenue dropped 15K per week. We would have a good assumption to say that the incremental revenue of those Facebook ads was 15,000. It's not the true 20,000 because we've only dropped 15,000 in sales. But that's a really good understanding of what was the actual incremental uplift through doing those channels. Another good example is the abandoned checkout flow. So someone will get to checkout and leave without purchasing. So it triggers the abandoned checkout flow where we remind the customer of what's in their basket. Now, that a week for a brand might bring in £5,000. But let's just say we wanted to run a test and we said, we're going to turn that off for the next week and see what happens. And the revenue only dropped by 2,000. Then there's an argument to say that the incrementality of that campaign was £3,000 because it only dropped by 2,000. So, and this is what some people might call a holdout test. A holdout test is when you hold back certain campaigns or certain channels or certain ads to test the true incrementality of the revenue that is driving for the business. So if you're in a meeting or you're speaking with a client and they bring that up, that's essentially what they're trying to solve. They're really trying to understand what is the true uplift, the true notion of revenue being driven from that particular channel or campaign.